Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with my fifth and final game of ScarabCon 2013, my Beastmen versus a Wood Elf army. And if you look at the army in front of me, this is one you've seen in previous battle reports. I always find it funny when you travel, 3 or 4 hours to go to a tournament, you end up playing somebody in your own backyard. But sometimes that's the way it works. So you should be familiar with this list. See on the far left, he's got Glade Guard, then some Dryads with the Branch Wraith, then some more Dryads, Treekin, an Eagle, some more Treekin, then 2 units of Glade Guard, one big, one small, and the big unit of Glade Guard has a Battle Standard Bearer as well as his General who is level 4 life. So I've got 3 chariots on the left, 2 units of Minotaurs, 4 more chariots, Bray Shaman behind him, and then my Doom Bull. And of all the games I've played in this tournament, this is the one that right as I deployed, I thought, and I think my opponent thought, I think I got the game. Because he didn't, it's a small thing, but he never considered that I would not put my Doom Bull in a Minotaur unit. So he thought he was hiding in the corner. And my thinking was, the shooting he has is no threat at all to my Doom Bull. I would want him to please target my Doom Bull instead of chariots. And by putting him out on his own, that buys me a whole nother unit, and he's very capable. So on the right, he can just march up 12 inches and be right in that corner by turn 2, if not turn 3 at the most. So my thinking is I've got 3 chariots on the far left that can deal with his Dryads and small Glade Guard on the left if I need to. I've got 2 units of Minotaurs as well as my Gore Bull to handle his Treekin, and I'm hoping that 2 units of Minotaurs can do that. And then I've got 4 chariots and my Doom Bull on the right to take care of his Treekin and all the Glade Guard over here. I think the chariots will get picked on, but I think the Doom Bull is safe. He'll get him at the Treekin, and that always scares me, but I think he should be okay against them. And once he handles them, he is free to just mop up Glade Guard, characters, or even the other unit of Treekin if I need to. And I've got my Brave Shaman hiding behind the lines. I get the roll to go first, and I move up like that. Here on the left, the only thing I really did is different was I pulled my Gore Bull out of one of the units because I think if his tree can get into combat with one of my Minotaur units, he's going to win, and win big. And so I don't need my Gore Bull quite there. So I pulled him out. Of course, I don't know what I was thinking, because if his tree can make that charge and he beats my Minotaurs, they're just going to overrun into my Gore Bull. But anyway, that's why he's out. There's a better picture of it. I'm not afraid of charging my chariots through the woods. I know that I could lose them, but the odds are that I don't. And so I like the thought of making 3 charges against his Dryads, completing 2 of them, and I think we should win that pretty easily. Here, I'm not worried about, in front of my Minotaurs, not worried about his Dryads at all. His Treekin I am. I need to get both these units into that Treekin unit. And sorry for the bad picture, but here's the one on the right. We go to the magic phase. I throw, I don't know, a couple dice at Flock of Doom. Get Irresistible Force, and do 1 wound to his Eagle, and immediately die due to a miscast. I don't know what it is about this tournament and my poor mage, but he's died early and often. Go to Wood Elf turn 1, he moves like that. Basically puts his archers on the hill so he can start shooting at me. Moves his Treekin up a little bit, not too aggressively. He does march his Dryads up into the woods to invite me to charge my Minotaurs into him. And on the left, I'm really surprised here. I kind of assumed he would throw his Dryads up into the woods so they'd be stubborn. But I guess in hindsight that doesn't make sense, because that would give me 3 easy charges to the chariots. So yeah, over here, I'm not sure. I see those Dryads there, and I'm just going to charge both units of Minotaurs in. I should mop them up pretty easily, and the bad news is he's going to be able to countercharge with his Treekin and probably take care of one of my Minotaur units. Over here on the right parks his very brave Eagle, who's sitting on 1 wound in front of my Doom Bull. Shooting takes out a chariot. Shooting puts a wound on the chariot. Now we go to Beastmen turn 2. So overall it looks like that. Here on the left, yeah, that is not a good place to be if you're a Dryad. So I've got 2 units of Minotaurs crashing into the woods. They are going to be stubborn, so I do need to kill them to a Dryad, I guess, to a man. Um, and then I was kind of hoping that my unit on the right could overrun D6 and hit his Treekin unit. But I remember we kind of measured it, and it would be tough. I might be able to make it if I roll a 6, and even then, maybe not. So on the right, the Doombull charges the Eagle. I mean, that's going to be an easy win for me. I'll get an extra Frenzy, and then I assume he's just going to charge his Treekin into my Doombull. On the far left, I charge the Chariots into the unit of Dryads. Only one of them makes it. That's kind of tough. That means that I think I should win this round of combat, and he'll either break or not. And if he doesn't, then if he holds, he's going to win that in the long run. After combat, there's no more Eagle, and I've got a revved up Doombull right in his business. And this is what I was hoping for. This is perfect for me. I mean, I would hate to be in his position, tucked away in a corner with a raging Doombull right there, and 3 Chariots right behind him. So they're nothing to sneeze at either, really. So over here on the right, I killed all the Dryads except one. We were careful to pull the Dryads off either side, and so the one remaining Dryad tied up one unit of Minotaurs, and the other one overran. And this is where I think I had no chance of hitting this Treekin, because it looks like I went pretty far, and I'm actually not even close to touching the Treekin. So luckily he's in my front. He's going to charge in, I think, and I think even though I'm frenzied, I think he wins that. Yeah, that's tough. On the far left, yeah, I charge in. He does 2 wounds to me. I think I win combat. Maybe not, I don't know. But it's a push, so he's going to win that eventually. Go to Wood Elf turn 2. He charges the Treekin into my Doombull, which is kind of what I want, but at the same time, I am a little bit scared. One nice thing is that against magical attacks, they don't get their ward save, and so it is easier to get some wounds on them. Otherwise, you see he pulled his characters out of the Glade Guard unit. He ranked the Glade Guard unit up, and his characters are kind of hiding there behind the Treekin. Yeah, the Treekin coming into this unit of Minotaurs. I think he's going to win, and if he wins, he'll probably break and run down these and he has a good chance of running down the Minotaurs. My hope, though, is since we have the same initiative, that I can do enough wounds to him that when the next unit of Minotaurs gets in combat, they should be able to handle him. And I'll trade 1 unit of Minotaurs for a unit of Treekin. So here's this one. And let's see, on the far left, his Glade Guard move up so they can shoot at my Chariot. Over here, his shooting is I don't know if he killed a Chariot. I think he did kill a Chariot that time. Either way, whatever. He's shooting at my Chariots over here. And after combat, it looks like that. So I did the math hammer on this, and I think the odds, I think what happened worked out correctly. I did 3 wounds to him, which is really what I should have done. He should have done 6 wounds to me, and I don't remember how many he did exactly, but whatever it was enough to win, and I wasn't steadfast, and I ran, and it looks like that. And I was actually really, really okay with this. My plans just changed, though, because now that my first unit of Minotaurs didn't really weaken that Treekin unit, I don't want to get a face-to-face fight with my other Minotaurs. So my thinking is, hey, let's just march all the way around these guys. And now he's got my Doombull in his front and a unit of Minotaurs in his flank. And I've got a Gorebull who can see his characters and get back there as well. So my thinking was, don't charge a Gorebull. My thinking was, do I charge the Gorebull at his character? And my fear there is that if it's a failed charge, I might land right in front of his Treekin where they can charge me. So instead I say, I'll just march my Minotaurs around and I'll move the Gorebull through that gap, and if the gap's not big enough, I'll just bring him to the other side of the building. So on the far left, his Dryads kill my Chariot. Horrible picture, sorry about that, but my Doombull's going to town against these Treekin. He took a wound, which you don't see very often, but he's now up to 8 attacks, plus every armor save he makes, he gets those attacks back. So he is... he's awesome. Go to Beastmen turn 3, and now the game is seriously in question, because if you look at the Treekin in the middle, my Gorebull... Remember, I didn't charge his Battle Standard Bearer because I didn't want to risk a failed charge? Well, so I have to take a Frenzy test, Leadership 8 rerollable, and I fail it. And once you take that test, if you fail it, you have to charge the nearest unit. If you you can declare any charge you want, but if you try not to charge, you have to charge the nearest visible unit. So my Gorebull BSB has to charge his Treekin. Now, as soon as that happened, I'm like, crap, I've just lost the BSB. So I reform the Minotaurs so they can countercharge at least. And I do it in this weird way because for some reason I was thinking that he would break my BSB and pursue him in order to get those points. I wasn't thinking that if he wins combat and I break, that the BSB dies. Just an epic fail with luck and with the reform on the left. Oh, it just makes, in hindsight, it just makes me sick. It made me sick at the time too. Just dumb. Now, one thing I didn't realize was I thought when the Gorbel charged in there that he was almost an auto fail, but I've since the game done the math hammer on it, and with impact hits, statistically speaking, I should do 2 wounds to him, and he should only do 2 wounds to me because I am getting a 6-up armor and a 4-up ward. So anyway, we should split wounds, and I should win by a banner and a charge, and he won't be steadfast. So even charging in, my Gorbel actually should win that combat. But he doesn't. So I do 3 wounds to him. I should have only done 2, so I did a little bit better than average. He should have done 2 wounds to me. He did 4, kills my Gorbel, reforms, so that now not only can he charge him Minotaurs, he can charge him in the flank. I don't usually do things quite this dumb. I'm so mad at myself for the way I reformed those Minotaurs. It makes no sense whatsoever. But this does, I mean, my original plan of marching the Minotaurs around, the reason I didn't do that was because if he did beat my Battle Standard Bearer, he'd be able to reform and he'd get a rear charge in me. But in hindsight, I'd rather him get a rear charge and at least have more attacks. Anyway. So here on the right, I charge a chariot in to the Treekin with my Doom Bull just because I'm thinking now that I might break him, and if I do break him, I want to be able to get those points, and so I want the chariot to be able to run him down. Go to Wood Elf turn 3. Yeah, so he just brings his Dryads and his Glade Guard around. His Treekin charged the flank of my Minotaur unit because I am insanely dumb. Over here, his characters are still hiding out behind the Treekin, and this is where he makes an absolutely huge mistake, because if I can break and run down this Treekin, or possibly just kill him, because they only have 8 wounds left, or they only have 7 wounds left, and my Doom Bull is up to 9 attacks, hitting on 3s rerollable, wounded on 3s. I've got a decent chance of killing those Treekin outright, and if I do, this is his turn. That means on my turn, I can charge his characters, and they're close enough to the edge of the board that he's very likely, gonna have to take it or risk running off the board. And after combat, that's exactly what happens. We kill the rest of the Treekin. Because I killed him, I didn't break him, that my Doom Bull does not have to overrun because he didn't charge in this turn. So he reforms to face all the Glade Guard on the right. My chariots, I have 2 chariots lined up to charge his 2 characters, and that is not a good position for him to be in. Over on the left, he beats my Minotaurs and runs them down. That's twice now he's beaten Minotaurs and run them down. I mean, it'd be nice if maybe, I don't know, sometimes I could get away from him. I'm just bitter because I made that stupid reform in the woods. Anyway, we go to Beastmen turn 4. Doom Bull charges the small unit of Glade Guard because he couldn't. It was awkward with the other chariot and the big unit of Glade Guard. If my chariot failed to charge, my Doom Bull maybe couldn't have made it. One of my chariots charged his BSB. He ran off the board. The other chariot charged his mage, who fled, and then got away. So I was really bummed about that. I was really, with all the mess on the left, to pull out a draw, I really need to get those characters. And now I just don't think that's going to happen. Over here, I charge both chariots into his Treekin. This is tough. Those Treekin are just so tough. But I'm thinking 2d6 strength 5 hits before anything else happens. If I can pull off 1, maybe 2 Treekin, I have a chance of surviving, winning combat. He won't be stubborn, and maybe I get lucky. So over here, the Doom Bull is so revved up it's crazy, but so he easily kills one unit of Glade Guard. In the middle, yeah, my chariots bounce off. If you look at his unit of Treekin, I don't think I did any wounds at all. Wood Elf turn 4. His Glade Guard charged a chariot, and I fled, so he ended up right there. That's the chariot that fled. His Treekin and Dryads charged my chariots. I fled. Go to my turn. I rally. I set up this weird way because I just want to be as far away from him as possible because I know he's going to charge. I don't have room to flee. So my hope is just, he's far enough away to fail the charges. Doable on the right turns around to face the Glade Guard, trying to get just a few points. Take my chariot over here, rally him, and face him towards his general. I don't really expect to be able to get him, but you never know. Wood Elf turn 5. He moves up his Glade Guard so that he can shoot at my chariot. He moves his spellcaster as far away as possible from the chariot. He shoots at kills the chariot. And over here he failed his charges. And so on my turn I just took the chariots out of line of sight from his units, but I couldn't. That was my plan. On the left I'm out of line of sight of his dryads. On the right I couldn't get out of line of sight of his Treekin. So I just moved where you see him so when his Treekin charge, I have some room to flee, and I'll just either get away or I won't. If you notice this Glade Guard, my Doombolt charged them and they fled and got away. And then I was kind of kicking myself because when I reformed the chariots, they were facing each other, and had they been facing out, after my Doombolt charged the Glade Guard and they fled, I could have charged them with my chariot and pushed them back towards the Doombolt and maybe netted those points. But at this point in the game, I feel like I've made enough major dumb mistakes that it's just par for the course. So Streak charges my chariot. I run. I do get away. Over here is his Glade Guard shoot a chariot. The only one wound left. They hit and kill it, and it comes out to a 3-17 loss. Just a beating up on the Beastmen. And again, what I find so funny about it is this is the only game where I went into it thinking I've got this. This is just the way it's set up after deployment was ideal, and it just fell apart. And that one unit of Treekin in the middle, just taking out 2 units of Minotaurs and a Gore Bull, and then taking a double chariot charge and just laughing it off, and they're still over half strength. My goodness, the men of the match. So anyway, that's over the tournament overall. I ended up with probably I think 48 points out of 100 possible. So yeah, especially with this big loss, I'm not really near the top. Some concluding thoughts about the tournament, though. One thing that I thought was funny was if you look at there's a lot of symmetry in the opponents that I faced. I went Wood Elves, High Elves, Bretonnia, High Elves, Wood Elves. So 3 armies from the Armies of Order or whatever it is, but 3 good guy armies. Not ones you face very often. So that was kind of cool, kind of different. One thing, the top 4 finishers in the tournament were all on the softest half in terms of their comp score. So I thought that was really cool. The toughest list did not do really well. I don't know if that's kind of a local meta where it's kind of expected that you bring a balanced army, a cool themed army, or something like that if you feel like you know what you're doing. So that may or may not be true. I don't know, but I noticed a lot of people brought relatively soft lists. My impression, my experience of it was, I brought a themed list. I played 5 great generals with balanced, fun lists, and I had 5 really fun games. So I'm a big fan of that kind of thing. I know that you don't always face that in tournaments, and that's fine. Regarding my list, I like Swiss Army knife lists, meaning I like a list where I feel like anything I face, I have some way to handle it. And so during deployment, I can kind of do a paper, scissors, rock, trying to find matchups where I can win the matchups. And this Chariot Minotaur list is a lot of fun, but it isn't that. I mean, I just really don't have a lot of tools. I've got a lot of Chariots and a lot of Minotaurs. So I'll bring it out for fun lists. I don't know if I'll bring it to a tournament again. And lastly, the Bretonnian player pointed out to me, he coined the term the Strength of Schedule Award, which is an unofficial award, but I awarded it to myself. The Wood Elf player that I played in Game 1 and beat 15-5, he won the tournament. The High Elf and Brett players that I played in Games 2 and 3, they came in 2nd and 3rd place in the tournament, and the Wood Elf player that I played the last game came in 4th place in the tournament. And the Wood Elf player, arguably, that came in 4th place, I helped him out because I lost so badly. But the other 3 players I either beat or drew or pretty much drew against him. So I think that speaks to the generalship of the armies I was facing. So I did not have an easy road in this tournament. So I think that's kind of funny, the Strength of Schedule Award. But again, fun tournament. I hope you enjoyed the series of reports, and I'll come back with more reports in the near future.